we have broken the Christmas omni, and I have no intention of going back to that terrible tradition. So there won't be a Christmas omnibus. As somebody asked me in the hallway a little while ago, will there be many buses? We don't want any buses. We're not going to do any buses, okay?
And I've seen this play call like 4 times in the 7 years I've been in Congress. They've punted the ball until December 20th. And what they'll do is they'll come in a closed room with us and they'll say, okay, now we've got the really big omnibus. And if you vote for this, you can go home for Christmas. But if you don't vote for it and it fails, we're going to make you stay here over Christmas and New Year's. And it's almost like a dystopian future. I've been in the closed room where they start chanting, vote, 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 vote.
Yeah.
And people run up there and vote for something they've not read.
CR. Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you.
It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading DOGE is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let them know how you feel about it.
Think about what Elon and Vivek have said? Yes. I agree with them 100%. I was a no on the CR before I even got an airplane and came to Washington. I haven't voted on one yet.
Do you think Republicans will be able to get anywhere next year on their effort to cut spending?
Yeah, look, next year's a different scenario. We're not dealing with Chuck Schumer in the Senate. We're going to have Donald Trump in the White House. We will have a narrow majority in the House, but we have to be able to do it next year. So, you know, we're stuck in the same scenario here, but still the CR is completely inexcusable. It's horrible.
All right, guys, so it's another year, and that means more of the same pork barrel tricks that the politicians love to use as an excuse to steal your taxpayer money at the end of every year by basically forcing their colleagues to pass a spending bill that they haven't read, called a continuing resolution, before the holidays so that they can go home on vacation, or else the government will shut down, okay? And nobody wants to say they're responsible for the government shutdown, right? From the money continuing to flow from the federal government. Now, keep in mind, a vast majority of these politicians have basically been on vacation the past few months because they certainly haven't done a damn thing, okay, outside of raising money from rich folks, right, from donors. Outside of that, they haven't really done much. So naturally, when some conservatives, ones that actually really care about fiscal responsibility, right, that actually really care about transparency and wanting to read what they're voting for, right, before actually voting for it, when they got this big pile of garbage on their desk, they were upset, okay? And Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, the two individuals that are leading DOGE, have come out here and pushed back heavily against this omnibus pork fest, essentially saying that, no, we cannot continue to do this. We promised the American people that as a part of DOGE, we would stop this type of unnecessary and non-transparent spending that includes money not just for pork barrel projects, but also to increase the salaries of the politicians, right? The most unpopular Congress probably in American history, right? A Congress that a overwhelming majority of the American people do not approve of. Yeah, they're looking for a pay raise, right? They want to raise their pay.
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years and no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourselves a pay raise?
How would I not know about a pay raise?
But I mean, people look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
And we're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
Well, I mean, your taxpayer money. I mean, you guys deserve a raise. And Durbin essentially said that, yes, they should give themselves a raise. And what also is notable, though, to Jim, he wasn't aware that this was in the provision, and he's the number 2 Senate Democrat. It just shows you how this was negotiated among a handful of members, and they're going to have to vote on this, and members really won't have time to read it either, Jim.
Unreal. But Manu, I have to say, you are worth every penny. Manu Raju up on Capitol Hill for us. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So does anybody think that makes sense? Right? How in the world does CNN, the media, catch a politician off guard and say, hey, do you agree with giving yourself a pay raise? And the politician didn't even know because they didn't even have time to read the bill. They didn't even know that the pay raise was in the bill. Again, it just shows you how much of a scam this is. Nobody has an opportunity to actually sit down and to figure out what the hell is in this piece of legislation before they vote on it, right? But Mike Johnson, he insists that, no. We got to pass this bill anyways, guys. You don't understand. Next year is when we get started with the real work, right? The promises that we made via DOGE, okay? That we're going to stop all this. No. We actually got to do it next year.
We don't have a choice. We have to fund those. We have to fund FEMA. We have to fund our farmers.
Right. And Mr. Speaker, it's not just so you've got a bunch of Republicans who are angry at you. They don't like this. And just in a couple of weeks, you're going to stand once again to run for Speaker of the House. And you don't need a bunch of Democrats mad at you. But and this is breaking news you do not know. You know who also does not like this? Elon Musk, the world's richest man, just tweeted, this bill should not pass. The only way you're going to be able to pass it now, Mr. Speaker, is with Democrats. If you could, what's your message to Elon Musk?
Well, I was communicating with Elon last night. Elon and Vivek and I are on a text chain together. And I was explaining to them the background of this. And Vivek and I talked last night about almost midnight. And he said, look, I get it. He said, we understand you're in an impossible position. Everybody knows that. Remember, guys, we still have just a razor-thin margin of Republicans. So any bill has to have Democrat votes. They understand the situation. They said, it's not directed to you, Mr. Speaker, but we don't like the spending. I said, guess what, fellas? I don't either. We got to get this done because here's the key. By doing this, we are clearing the decks, and we are setting up for Trump to come in roaring back with the America First agenda. That's what we're going to run with gusto beginning January 3rd when we start the new Congress, when Republicans, again, are in control. And all of our fiscal conservative friends, I'm one of them, will be able to finally do the things that we've been wanting to do for the last couple of years. Right now, Democrats still control the pens, and that's the problem. So we got to get this thing done so we don't have the shutdown, so we get the short-term funding measure, and we get to March where we can put our fingerprints on the spending. That's when the big changes start, and we can't wait to get there.
Right. Yeah, so this is the same type of argument that fat people use to justify waiting until New Year's before they go on a diet, right? They say, well, no, you don't understand. It's the holidays, and I just want to enjoy myself now. I just want to keep eating now, even though I promise that I'm going to cut it out, that I'm actually going to change my lifestyle. I promise I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to do it later, right? At the beginning of the year. And this is why a vast majority of the time, those New Year's resolution diets fail because it wasn't a serious thing, right? People, when you want to make a serious lifestyle change, you do it in that moment. You say, from this moment, I am now making this change and I'm going to stick with it. You don't wait to some arbitrary date that you feel is special for whatever reason to make the change, right? You make the change immediately. And clearly you can see that the GOP, they don't seem to be very serious about the changes that they claim that they're going to make, the things they claim they're going to do when it comes to cutting out all of this unnecessary spending, this theft of taxpayer dollars. Because if they were serious, they would start to do it now, not later, especially when you have the power, okay? This is why I do not throw Mike Johnson in the same category as everybody else when I talk about the MAGA Avengers, right? When all of them are together at some event and Mike Johnson is there, I always leave out Mike Johnson because I'm like, nah, I don't really think he deserves the title, right? I don't think he should be a part of the group, okay? And stuff like this is what I'm talking about. So, with that being said, again, Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, and now President-elect Trump have come out against this so-called continuing resolution, and that is sending Capitol Hill into chaos. Take a look.
We're told right now in the past 30 or 40 minutes here that they might try to pull this interim spending bill off the floor and maybe just go with a clean bill. Unclear what that means for disaster assistance. Here's what happened. A post on X by Elon Musk sent shockwaves through the Capitol. House Republicans were trying to see if they have enough votes to pass the spending bill in the next hour or two. Musk posted that anyone who votes yes should lose their office in 2 years, and lawmakers are scrambling.
The tweets from Musk, has that complicated this?
Well, I mean, I think that there's always a lot of interest in what's happening up here, and
this is more than interest. They're telling people if they vote yes, they should be voted out.
The social media world is a part of our politics, and I think members have to expect that. There will be a lot of hard votes in the next couple of years.
A member of the House Republican leadership told Fox that Musk is not helping. The lawmaker added that Musk has bigger fish to fry than picking a fight with House Republicans. One source said the bill is now bleeding support from the GOP. When asked how many Democrats the GOP needs to pass the bill, a senior aide replied, quote, a lot. Lawmakers who had hurricanes devastate their districts are torn.
The fact is that, look, this is a sandwich. I don't know how else to say that. We're being forced into this position. They could have done a standalone. They did this because they knew that it would put members in this position to support it. We're damned if we do. We're damned if we don't.
Now, the bill has about $100 billion in disaster relief, nearly $30 billion to restock FEMA's coffers, and there are lots of health care provisions. Jamming everything together in one bill means some Republicans will not support Mike Johnson for Speaker in January.
Have any other of your colleagues said that they're not voting for Johnson? Any express?
I've talked to a few, who don't seem like they're going to vote for him. You have to ask them. I'm not going to betray anybody's position.
Will you just vote president, or will you vote someone else's name?
I'll vote for somebody else.
Now, Johnson can only lose one vote and still win the Speaker's race on January 3rd. Some Republicans ask how things are different with a spending bill like this under Johnson than former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The funding deadline is Friday night. Neil?
House Financial Services Committee, Byron Donalds. Congressman, this bill will fund much of what DOGE is looking to cut. What's going on?
Unfortunately, this is what happens in the lame duck here on Capitol Hill. Listen, there was a historic election, a mandate given to President Trump. People want government efficiencies. They want lower spending. But the swamp and, frankly, congressional Democrats want what they want, and it was that or farmers suffer. And it's a very unfortunate bill. Listen, what we have here is a bill that puts disaster recovery for a state like mine of Florida and many other states, and that was held hostage to get EV mandates and all this other stuff through this package. Personally, as a member, I have to vote no because I'm not voting for this kind of garbage. This is a bad bill. It should not pass. Elon Musk is correct. A lot of my colleagues are correct. In my view, we should go back to the drawing board immediately. Disaster recovery should move on its own. And when it comes to the other functions of government, it should be a slim deal until Donald Trump comes back.
Then,
yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy having such an influence over what's happening in Congress clearly is rubbing people the wrong way, okay? Republicans and Democrats.
To tank this, I mean, we have two unelected billionaires who are telling the American people going into Christmas that the government's going to be shut down, that our air traffic controllers won't be operating, that TSA won't be there to help you at the airports you're traveling to see your loved ones. Really?
Who are Elon Musk is an unelected billionaire. Who's the other one?
Well, Donald Trump obviously not in office yet. I don't know where Ramaswamy
he was elected, though.
Yes, fair enough. Fair enough.
Hanging by a thread.
Well, first off, I'd like to say thank the Lord God that I am not in Congress anymore. I know this game. They always play this like Christmas deadline stupid game. But look, President Musk this morning made it clear with all his vast government experience, which is basically he became rich on the federal government, that he doesn't want Republicans to pass this. And seemingly Vice President Trump kind of backed him up then at that point. And what it says about the politics is this is going to be a messy 4 years. The whole debt ceiling thing. Donald Trump is making it clear that he wants the debt ceiling to go up. By the way, the debt ceiling is going to have to go up but he doesn't want to have to take ownership for it because he will, again, for 4 years, look at the Democrats and blame them. And so what this says about the politics is good luck for the next 4 years. I don't think they'll shut the government down because ultimately they'll want to get home for Christmas. They'll do like a 1 month CR pretending like that's going to fix everything. But yeah, I mean, I think President Elon has made it clear what his agenda is going to be for the next 4 years.
Yeah, it does seem that the only thing that truly moves Capitol Hill is vacations, in my experience, watching that building behind me.
House Republicans have now unilaterally decided to break a bipartisan agreement that they made. House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt everyday Americans all across this country. House Republicans will now own any harm that is visited upon the American people that results from a government shutdown or worse. An agreement is an agreement. It was bipartisan, and there is nothing more to say. Thank you.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of things in this bill that nobody has read, that nobody really understands, that is packed into this bill that these politicians are being forced to vote on at the last minute. Like, for example, there's a 1-year extension of the State Department's Global Engagement Center, which funded an advertiser's blacklist of the Post and other outlets to purportedly crack down on misinformation, right? So there's quite literally funding in here to fuel more censorship, right? It's that type of stuff, right? It's the small things that nobody is going to read, right? Nobody is going to go over and say, hey, does this make sense, right? Should we be funding this? Yeah, that type of stuff is in this bill, okay? And that is what people are upset about. A lot of this stuff should be voted on individually, okay? A lot of this spending, like, for example, when it comes to the $100 billion in disaster relief, why can't you vote on that individually, right? Why can't you have just a clean bill and a yes or no, right? Why can't you do that? $30 billion for FEMA funding, same thing. All of these things. I think some of the stuff people may agree on. Some stuff people may say, okay, hey, we need more funding for X, Y, and Z, right? But it should be something that each politician is voting on individually, not something that's stacked inside this large 1,000-page plus bill that is impossible to read. That's the problem here. That's the issue. These politicians, for the last few months, they haven't been working. They've been raising money. Yes, some of them are running for re-election, but they haven't been working. They could have been working on having individual votes on this stuff way before this. But they wait till the end of the year. They stuff it all in one bill, and then they play this game of political hot potato with the government shutdown, right? With the deadline to extend funding. And the American people are sick and tired of this, sick and tired of the political games. And Mike Johnson, he's in trouble. He's in big trouble, okay? Because you already have some Republicans coming out and saying, yeah, we're not going to vote for Mike Johnson because of this. This guy, at this point, he's only a marginal upgrade over Kevin McCarthy. Again, this is what got Kevin McCarthy ousted, this type of behavior. So he's going to have a hard time winning the speakership, right? He's going to have a really hard time winning over the people that are now pissed off by the fact that, again, this guy seems to be some of the same old. And that in and of itself is going to cause some issues because he may have to capitulate the Democrats. He may have to make a deal with Democrats to remain speaker, and that means he will be compromised, which definitely will not be good for the America First agenda, right? It's not going to be good. So with that being said, Mike Johnson should pass a clean continuing resolution, okay? No pork add-ons, and whatever other add-ons that they feel are necessary should be voted on individually, so that there's maximum transparency in regards to what is being voted on. That's what should happen. Or else, hey, if Democrats don't want to get on board with that, then let them deal with the shutdown. Biden's in office, right? They're still in office. They can deal with the shutdown. And you just make the case. Listen, Democrats want all these projects. They don't want transparency. They don't want transparency. All we're asking for is for them to actually vote on each bill individually. That's it. That's it. Put the ball in Democrats' court. But again, transparency is needed. And the reason why these politicians do this, why they wait to the last minute to pass these massive spending bills every single year, is because that's exactly what they do not want. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.